happy that you're here and that we're able to do
Yeah.
the road trip. And I would love if you could just start by sharing a little bit about yourself
Of course.
and your writing.
Sure. So my name is Elora Maxwell. I'm an author based out of Missouri, just north of Kansas City. I love history, so I mostly write historical fiction. I also do have one kind of fun sports romance too, but yeah, history is where my heart is.
That sounds,
But when I'm not writing, I love to travel. I just love adventure. So you'll
oh,
catch me and my husband at theme parks a lot. But we also like to play soccer and watch really good movies and stuff like that. So
totally.
that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome. And so since you're a history buff, what periods in history are your favorite?
I think, oh gosh, I think it changes a lot.
Yeah.
Probably World War II or like Western stuff. So
Oh,
anywhere
yeah.
in the 1800s as well. I grew up just always having like the History Channel on in the background and had some really great, amazing history teachers too. So I think that that's kind of where my love started and carried me forward.
I love that. And then, so you said you also love to travel.
Yeah.
Have you traveled abroad at all?
Yes, me and my husband went to Europe for our honeymoon. Like I said, we're big theme park people, so we did a few theme parks over in Europe, and
Cool.
but also did the sightseeing stuff too.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Yeah. What's your favorite or favorite couple of countries over there?
We did France and Germany. We're gonna do England and Scotland next year, so I'm
Oh,
over the moon about that trip. But
that'll be so
Germany
fun.
was amazing. We went to Cologne and we went to the Cologne Cathedral, and that was like the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, Germany was amazing.
It's a beautiful country, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been there twice. So went in 2019 before the world shut down. Went
Yes.
to Germany. One of my friends was getting married. I met her in Australia because I actually studied abroad in Australia.
Oh,
So
cool.
we met there, and then she invited us to her wedding, and we got to go and see the cute little German villages and go to the Black Forest and see where Snow White's story began
Yeah.
and the Brothers Grimm. That's, I think, just the best part for any writer, is to go see where some of those stories were,
Yes.
real, actually.
Yes.
But yeah, awesome. Well, I love history too and traveling as well, and I feel like those things bring a lot of story ideas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So-
I think one of my books is The White Rose of Texas, and it's right here.
Oh,
But it's my
cool.
Western. So I have a lot of family history in Texas. I have an ancestor who died in the Texas Revolution. So
Wow.
when researching this book, we went down there. We saw the Alamo, we went to San Jacinto, and we saw my ancestor's monument too. He has a little like gravestone and just a
Memorial
little bit
type
about
thing.
his life and how he went down there from Pennsylvania and all this stuff. And so
Wow.
yeah, I'm with you 100%. Yeah, it's really cool to see where these or these books take place, and same with like Where the Wildflowers Lay, which you're getting a copy of.
Okay, yep.
Yep, this it takes place in home basically, Kansas City area, and
Yep.
so these two books have a really really special place in my heart because those are the places that I've been,
Right.
and you can really just feel that culture and feel that history when you go to those places, and I think that just takes it to another level.
I love that. And honestly, I'm getting goosebumps right now with you saying that because
Yeah.
it's so true, and I feel like story is connected, to many things, but
Mhm.
like place is a big thing. So I mean, even
Yes.
like for you, like with your history and like your ancestor that was in that revolutionary revolution,
Yes.
right?
Text revolution, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like to actually see that and to think, oh my gosh, like that was someone in my history.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like when I was in England, like I've done a little bit of history research as well and everything. And we had this one pastor in our lineage or
Yeah.
whatever. And he was like speaking out against like the King of England at the time. And they were like even like threatening beheading. And he was at the Tower of London and he was
Wow.
in actually locked up in there. And I'm just
Yeah.
like
It just
as
like
we're standing
washes
there,
over you and you just feel it. You're just
I know
there.
you just feel it. And
Yeah.
it's just like, holy moly. It's just, and that's why story is so important because, it captures that same feeling
Yeah.
and shares it with people that don't really have that same experience. But then by reading through the book, they kind of do get that experience.
Mhm. Yeah.
I just love that. So can you tell me a little bit more then about your inspiration for the book that we're spotlighting?
Absolutely. So, Where the Wildflowers Lay is about the Hello Girls. Even though I'm a history buff, I had no idea who these women were until I was just scrolling through social media and saw the World War One Museum had done a post about them. And so
Okay.
just dove in. And the Hello Girls were women who basically were America's first female soldiers. They were the first women to work for the army
Okay.
overseas. They were recruited specifically by General John Pershing. And so that's an incredible thing all on its own. He specifically wanted women to do this job
Okay.
because the men were kind of mucking it up over there. And he wanted to make sure that communication lines were all good to go before any American man set foot over in France. So these women actually went over there before any of our male soldiers did.
Okay.
They manned the switchboards. They saved thousands of lives. There was a group of them that followed General Pershing around like throughout Europe, and I mean they're incredible women, and they actually just received veteran status like at the end of last year.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's they're incredible, and they did a lot for like women's rights as well. Right around the time like suffragettes and all that.
Yep.
So they just were kind of right there in that moment, but they didn't ever. This was one of the coolest things I learned about them. It's like when they got home, they didn't really fight for like the same things that the men were getting. Like they didn't get that veteran status. They didn't get to go home with all of those like honor. They weren't honorably discharged or anything. They were just said
Yeah.
go told to go home, and
Oh man.
they just did. They went home and they took care of their families and they went back to life. And it wasn't until later that people really started to fight for them and see what they did. And so yeah, they're
Goodness gracious.
fascinating,
Can you
amazing women.
imagine coming back from something like
Yeah,
that and not
they're young women.
having the
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
when you come back from something like war, you have, I mean, at least nowadays, maybe back then somewhat, you know, people to talk to about it or whatnot or something. But oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I mean, there was a camp up in Iowa too, and so that's kind of where my Lorraine, she lives in Kansas City. She was a telephone operator before, and then so she finds her way into this war and juggling what's going on at home on the home front too. Do you stay
Mm.
and do you help on the farm, the homestead while the other men are gone, or do you also take the step to
Oh,
fight for your country and do what you think is right? And so that was just so fascinating to look at and understand because again, like these were the first women to do this
hmm.
and they paved the way. So
Yeah. And
yeah.
not only that, they were the first ones over too.
Yep, they were. They sure were. Yep.
That's amazing. That's
Mhm.
just so cool. And that's really honestly a part in historical fiction I feel like you don't hear about as much. I mean,
Yeah.
you hear about like World War II a lot, which
Mhm.
it's understandable because it was very interesting and I'm right there with you. I love World War II history and I have that same history of like having the History Channel
Yeah.
on
Yep.
my dad is a huge history
Yep.
buff too. So
That's me. Yep.
always had that plan in the house.
Mhm. Yep.
But yeah, so but like yeah, back to the point of your story, like I feel like that section in history is really not shared much. So it's really cool that you wrote that and everything. Because I've never heard of that before.
And I hadn't either. And I was like dumbfounded and like angry that I hadn't learned about this in
Yeah.
class or anything. Like I wish I could have done projects on these women back in high school, back in college, you know. So
Yeah.
learning about that and just completely diving in and learning about these women,
Yeah.
unreal.
Wow. So when was the moment that you actually learned about it? What got you onto it?
I was I literally remember the moment. My husband was out playing soccer and I was just scrolling and I was like, what am I gonna do? Like I might watch a movie, I might do something. And I just came across this post about Grace Banker, who was the leader. She was the first, she was who everybody looked up to.
Hmm.
And I just like read their little paragraph, immediately went to YouTube and started watching videos about them because I was just so fascinated. And I was sitting there watching these videos and I was taking notes and I was like, yeah, gotta write a book about this because this story needs to be told one way or another, so I might as well do it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're amazing.
Totally. Oh my gosh. Well, I love that. And I'm glad that you wrote the story. It needed to be written. So that's wonderful. And I feel like, too, there's more history like that that's
Mhm.
just sitting around waiting to be written about. And I
That
feel like,
that's my kind of niche, I would say, because my other historical fiction obviously is the Alamo and stuff, but it
yeah,
goes a little bit more into depth about like the women who were spies at the time and the people who surrounded themselves next to Houston.
I
So
love
there's
that.
that. But then my World War II novel is also a little bit different in that it kind of is a dual timeline of World War II in the 1950s, and it follows three people through their journey in World War II, and then all three of those storylines converge in the sinking of the Andrea Doria in 1956. I was a big
Oh,
Titanic kid, so I
yeah.
was a big maritime history girl, and the Andrea Doria has just been a story that's kind of fascinated me for since like first grade, I think. So yeah, those three characters are kind of they go through three very unique parts of World War II, and then they all still
Okay.
kind of converge. So I would agree with you. Like, I love those kind of niche things. I love learning something when I read a historical fiction. Love to be
Mhm.
entertained, and I love to be swept off my feet too. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I love those moments.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I can't wait to read the one you're sending and those other ones. I'm gonna have to go and buy them because they sound great.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
yeah, I might have just found one of my new favorite writers. Hey.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. And yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited to read it and everything because I really do like those kind of stories and I feel like we do need more of them.
Yeah.
So, thank you for writing them.
Thank
So,
you.
when it comes to a story that you're just starting out on,
Yeah.
does the character or does the plot come first?
Oh, I think the plot does only
Okay.
because again, just be writing based on history, it's like that plot is basically there for you. It's just you
Yeah.
have the timeline set.
Oh,
Like you
true.
can't change a timeline of history if you're writing the way that I like to write for
Yep.
historical fiction. And so it's just like it's finding those little through lines of who you want this person to be and how are they going to experience this plot that is kind of already set up for you.
Right.
And so I think that's kind of my way. Honestly, my characters come super organically to me. Like I've never really struggled or anything like that with my characters. I just kind of let them take me where they want to go. I don't try to fight back on anything really.
So we talked about kind of like the history and everything about, the bringing that into the stories for inspiration and everything too. But how are you also inspired by like your state, your culture and because every state really does have its own culture,
Yes.
even the Midwest, even though we're all kind of similar, but we still have our differences, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
Yeah. I'll go back to where the wildflowers lay again, just
Yeah.
because it does take place like maybe 30 minutes from where I live. And
Um,
General Pershing's house is literally like 30 minutes that direction. And we also have the World War One museum in Kansas City too. So it just felt right to set
yeah.
it here. And just kind of that Midwest spirit of, hard work and just putting your head down and doing what needs to be done and then
Yep.
not really needing the credit for it or anything like that. It just and just also the setting, the wide openness of it. I mean, Kansas City in 1917, I mean, it's a city,
Yeah.
but you still have all those farms and you still have the homesteads all around it. And so that was just kind of that perfect setting that I needed. I needed Lorraine to be from a place that was peaceful and quiet and she could watch the wildflowers grow from her,
Oh,
her window every morning and
love that.
live on the homestead with family. And so I really needed her to have that and the book needed it too. It needed that first half to be very like peaceful and you're just trying to figure out who you are, but then that second half it's like you go over to France, you're in the mud, you're
Mm.
you're experiencing the bombardment. Like I loved that kind of like duality of those two things.
Mm.
Because the Midwest to me is home. I grew up in Nebraska. I live in Missouri now, but
Okay. Yep.
Midwest is home. I love the Midwest. I love the feeling
Yep.
here. I love how everybody's kind of family and yeah, I wanted Lorraine to be similar in that, and that's what she
And so
goes
if
through.
you could take your two main characters from the book we're spotlighting, you could take them and have a road trip for them. Where would they go? It would be a little bit different because it's historical, right?
Yes. Um, I think that Lorraine would take Nathan up to Iowa to see where she trained and do all
Okay.
that. But then she's also somebody who is that's part of her struggle too, is like she wants adventure. She
Yeah.
wants to see what the world is, and then she gets over into war and she sees what the world can be, and she kind of backs up a little bit, and it's kind of figuring out, do I want the adventure for the rest of my life, or do I actually really want to go back home and like live this quiet, peaceful
Mm,
life after having this experience? So I think honestly they would kind of just meander. I don't think they would have much of a set itinerary or anything.
yeah.
I think they would just go and they would experience it the way that it was back then, and hop on a train probably, because
Right.
they do take a lot of trains in the book.
Okay.
And you know what? They probably would go to New York City too, because they did a lot of their training there. And again, Lorraine's super proud of this, so she probably
Yeah.
would show Nathan, like
Why
around.
not,
But
right?
yeah,
Yeah. Awesome, cool. And on the road trip side of things with that, a road trip isn't a road trip without good snacks, right?
yes.
What are some snacks that they would have to have with them?
I'm gonna make them take modern snacks.
Okay.
I mean, goldfish are a
Oh, yeah.
staple, so
Uh-huh.
of my life. So they're taking that. And then sunflower seeds is another staple of my
Yep.
husband. So I think my staple, my husband's staple would go with
There
that.
you go. That
Yeah.
works out perfectly. I love that. Okay. That is wonderful. And so if you were to go on a road trip,
Sure.
what book would you bring with you? Like, favorite comfort
Ooh,
read and
yes.
yeah.
Okay. Probably my favorite book of all time. What the Wind Knows by Amy Harmon. It is my favorite book ever. It is so good. It is the perfect combination of historical fiction and romance, and like a little time travel
Yeah.
too. And so I love the feel of that book. I think it is so highlightable. I think it
Yeah.
is highlighted to high heaven on my copy. But I just love the way that book makes me feel, and I love the romance in it. And it's a book everybody should read. If you like historical fiction, you like that, like you
Cool.
have to. Yeah.
Awesome. I will have to read that. I did just get her one with like the drummer girl on the
Oh,
front cover.
oh yeah. Songbook of Benny Lament.
Yes, yes, I did just get that one.
So good.
And I'm excited to read that one, but I haven't read that one, so I'll have to, yeah, I've heard is very good with her historical fiction. So what's the day in the life of writing for Elora?
Oh, well, Laura has a 9 to 5. So
Okay.
writing is typically at in the evenings. Or I am very fortunate in that sometimes my job is slower and I am like allowed to write a little bit. But
Cool. Yep.
I love my office. It's dark green. It's very lush and
Love
kind of like
that.
a foresty vibe. So I just kind of wrap up myself in here. I put on a great playlist.
Yep.
Whatever the music, like whatever I'm writing, I always make playlists to go along with it, and that's how I get into my zone. But
Mode.
yep, I'm not really a plotter, because again, like historical fiction, it's already got that plot, like the
Right.
timeline for you and everything. So I just let it take me where it takes me, and yeah, I'm never hard pressed for deadlines either. I just kind of make it up as I go
Go with
along. But
it.
that's
Yeah.
the best way I can stay creative. So I
Yep.
don't push myself there.
There
Yeah.
you go. That's good. Yeah. And what are you currently working on? Do you have something you're currently working on?
Okay, yeah, I do. So, my newest book, I actually just got the copies yesterday, but The
Ah,
River's
that's pretty.
Deception is kind of my love letter to the adventure genre, because I grew up loving Indiana Jones and The Mummy, and big theme park
Yes.
gal, so I love adventure. And so it's an adventure set in the 1920s on the Amazon River.
Okay.
Yep, it's another closed door romance as well, and it's the first of two books, but yeah, it's like, yeah, if you love The Mummy, if you love Indiana Jones, like those adventures that have kind of like a supernatural or like mystery element,
Right.
that's what this is. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds super fun. Yeah, I love that idea. And so when you're writing historical fiction, like research is pretty important. So like what is your research? Kind of like your research, goodness gracious, what's the word? It's blanking. Process. There you
Yeah.
go.
I think it's different for each book. I think for like The Shore Forever, I had such a hard, I knew almost everything about it just because I grew up researching it and knowing
Yeah.
it. But for like Where the Wildflowers Lay, that was a whole different process because I started from zero. I
Oh,
had no
sure.
idea who these women were. Like I have, not as I know World War II pretty well, but World War I is a little dicey. So
Right.
just honestly like diving in. Again, I have the World War One museum like right down the way from me, so that was an easy access to just kind of go and immerse myself and take notes and all that, and then
Good.
just
Yep.
ab- absorbing all the stuff that I could from online and Instagram and
Good. I love
world.
that.
Like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of World War One history around here, so that one I was very fortunate to be able to go.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really
And
cool.
then
And so when it comes to people traveling through your state, what places would you recommend that people need to stop? Because, I feel like the Midwest is not really seen as a destination spot. It's kind of seen as drive-through or flyover country.
yeah,
But there are some pretty cool things in the Midwest. So I feel
right.
like we need to show our East, West, and South friends that they
Yeah.
should come and visit us some.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I could take the easy route and be like, go to a Chiefs game, go see the Arch over in St. Louis, or go to Branson and
Yep.
do the thing down there. But I'm gonna shout out my hometown, St. Joseph, Missouri. We have the coolest museums. We have a psychiatric museum that's really cool. We
Ooh,
are the start point of the Pony Express, so we have all that history. We actually
that's so
just did
cool.
the re-ride recreation like this past weekend.
Oh,
And then we
fun.
also are the town where Jesse James was shot and killed. So we have his house,
Yes.
and the bullet hole is still in the wall. So you can go see that and just like learn all that history. But then we have a really cute downtown. We have an amazing indie bookstore that I love, the
Oh,
Story
cool.
Collective.
That's awesome.
So come check that off your bookstore list. And yeah, and then we also host Chiefs camps, so that's really fun to do in the summer. Come visit St. Joseph because we're kind of like a hidden gem, but yeah.
Okay, very cool. I did not know that, but wow, like the Pony Express and all of that sounds so interesting. I love
Yeah, so
that. Thank you so much for
thank
jumping
you.
on to the road trip with us, and this
Yes,
will be
thank
so
you
much
for
fun.
reaching out. This has been great. I
Yeah,
love talking.
absolutely. And where can people find you and your books?
Yes. So the best place to find me is Instagram at author_Elora Maxwell. I also have a website, authoreloramaxwell.com. Those are the two places the easiest to find me. All of my
Okay.
updates are via Instagram, and TikTok, but I'm mostly on Instagram.
Well, it was so lovely chatting with you, Laura. And
Yes.
for
And you'll be at Literature and Lattes, right?
I will be, yes.
Yes. Okay, great. We'll
So
be able to chat
I'll
then.
see you there. Yes, I am.
Yes.
I'll be there under my pen name, which is
Okay,
Lillian
great.
Yeobear. It's my
Okay,
middle
great.
name. But Devin's my real name. So
Okay,
lovely to meet
cool.
you, and I
Yes.
can't wait to meet you in person there. So
It'll be lovely. Thank you
yeah,
so much.
yeah, most definitely. You have a lovely rest of your
You
night.
too, you too.
Yep. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for riding shotgun on the Romance Reading Road Trip. I'm so excited for you to be joining this journey with us. Be sure to go down to the video description below and sign up for the passport. You're not going to want to miss out on it.